You're watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Here's your host, Don Ansell.
Robin Grathwol, who is the CEO of R3 Environmental, and Clayton Gsell, who is their Chief Operating Officer. That's the startup company that has been contracted to take over the solid waste disposal in New Hanover County. When does that happen, by the way?
Which part?
The exact date that you
take over?
Yeah.
Well, it's 90 days from signing the contract, and we're at the very end of the negotiations on the contract.
Okay.
So we haven't actually signed it yet.
So as soon as you sign it, 3 months from then,
that's correct.
It's you. You won't have most of the components in place that your system is going to use to deal with all of this, will you?
No, no.
So you'll do it in traditional ways?
That's correct, until we build the facility.
Until you build the facility.
And our goal is to have the facility up and running and processing by the end of the second year. It'll take us a year to build the facility.
Will that be built into the contract that you have to have it?
Yes, it already is.
In a certain time
Absolutely.
period. Yeah.
There are major penalties and performance guarantees if we don't hit that benchmark.
Is this system, the way you've configured it and in its totality, in use anywhere else in the country?
No.
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 In Europe?
In Europe, very similar system.
So this is really cutting edge in this country.
This is, very much so. There are components of this system that are being used throughout the country, but we've just combined all the pieces in sort of a unique way to get totally from waste to energy.
This is a huge undertaking.
Yes.
What kind of revenue investment does it take to get the whole process up and running?
Oh, approximately $30.5 million on the front end. The processing facility, that's really the capital expenditure, is about $30 million. And depending upon how we treat the back end, and what we're calling front end and back end, is the front end is the processing plant that takes it from the municipal waste that comes in to the biomass and recyclables. Then we take that biomass and either send it into the incinerator to create electricity or build our own plant.
So you
for the
take
back
over
end.
Waste Tech, which is the county
Yes.
Incinerator.
That's correct.
And there's been a lot of questions about that facility over the years, that it has not been updated and it isn't operating as efficiently as it should, and about the emissions of the building of the incinerator. How are you going to deal with that?
I think the emissions-wise, it's a very healthy facility. Again, monitored very closely, statewide and federally. It has, I think, over the years, lacked some of its maintenance, so we'll have to make an investment in that. But also, the employees there have gotten very comfortable with being creative and fixing things on their own, and
so because there were those that say, let's close it or let's sell it. We don't. So they are selling it basically to you. It's to your corporation.
Well,
or
not exactly.
Partnership, sort of.
It'll remain an asset of the county.
Okay. Where does all this? You're talking $30 million to build the facility.
Right.
Where's the money coming from? Investors?
Investors, venture capital money to invest in this process. This is a hot technology. Everyone's heading this direction. It's cutting edge, and there are a lot of investors that want to participate.
But it's never been the way you're doing it done. How speculative is it?
Well, not very much, actually. This machinery, most of the technology has been in use for 10 to 35 years. It's just the recombination of it. So what's innovative for us is we've taken something that's at the first level and taken it up to the fourth level, but truly it works, and it's been vetted out, it's been validated.
Because there are people in the state environmental that say that have reservations about it.
Right.
Some which are some major names. How do you answer them? Why would they be so not against it, but
skeptical.
Skeptical, yeah.
Well, because they haven't seen this work. There's been processing facilities, material recovery facilities, we call them MRFs, that have failed, and they've failed for a number of reasons, but it's a totally different concept, and they've overcome those obstacles in the last 10 years. A lot of research and development has been done, and it's a whole new process.
What hard was it to sell the county on? I mean, this is
It
really
wasn't
jumping
easy.
off into
Right.
something really new and untried.
Right. In the beginning, it wasn't easy. They did their due diligence, and they hired an outside consultant with a major solid waste consulting company to evaluate all the RFPs, ours being one of them. And in the very end, if you watch the final meeting when they awarded the contract, they asked Bob Brickner, you know, what he thought. Should we do this? And
that's the
he
consultant?
said, yes. He said not just yes, but a firm yes.
What happens to things like batteries, light bulbs, things that in the past we haven't been able to really recycle efficiently?
Right. Still, there are some items that we can't. You know, we purely can't recycle. And those will be disposed of hazardous in one way and the non-hazardous in the landfill still. So we haven't accomplished 100% yet.
And one of the, we're going to go to break in a minute, but let me just talk about reducing the cost of trash. One of the selling points was it would reduce the cost for the customer, the citizens. Is that still on the table?
Well, that's, let's put it this way. It will increase revenue to the county by about $5.5 million a year. They've been operating at a loss. They'll be operating at a gain. How they choose to distribute those funds is their choice.
Okay. What happens to the county? The county waste disposal system now is sort of a hodgepodge, and that's going away. You're going to handle it all. Is this commercial and residential?
Right. It's we're going to have actually two processing facilities. We'll have our main for residential, and it'll handle some commercial. But we also have a C&D facility that we'll build separately, which is construction and demolition for, you know, just that purpose. We'll process and recycle it there as well.
We'll take another break. We'll come back with the two of the principals from R3 Environmental taking over the county waste disposal project, or process, I should say, in 90 days plus. We'll be right back to talk more. Stay with us.